The film begins with a beautiful girl named Seion walking in the street and crying. Suddenly, a car belonging to an unknown person stops in front of her, and she gets in with him. After that, we go to a boxing coach named Chul, who is going to speak with the judging committee. He accuses them of taking bribes to make his boxers lose. The deputy director of the judging committee gets furious with him, calls him a failure, and tries to hit him. However, Chul defends himself and punches him in the stomach, causing the deputy to sit on the ground. The deputy decides to punish him and fires him from his job. After a while, Chul gets into his car and moves toward a poor village to work there as a teacher in a girls' school. His sister calls him and blames him for what he did with the deputy of the judging committee, asking him not to make trouble in his new job. Chul reassures her and informs her that he is heading to the village. When he arrives at the village borders, his car breaks down, so he calls a tow truck to come and pull the car. By chance, he sees a poster about a girl named Seion, who has been missing for a while, and this turns out to be the same girl we saw at the beginning. As soon as the tow truck arrives, Chul gets into the car and enters the city. There he sees a girl named Jin fighting with a group of girls and shouting at them because they tore down the advertisement she posted about the disappearance of her friend Seion. Chul tries to calm her down and tells them not to make trouble. At that moment, an officer named Song arrives, speaks with Chul, welcomes him, and reminds him that he used to train in boxing at his club. At that time, Jin goes to the house of her friend Seon's grandmother to check on her and gives her her medicine. We learn that Seion was living with her grandmother before she disappeared because her father and mother died in a car accident. The grandmother tells her that she is very worried about Seion because she has been missing for a month and no one knows anything about her. Jin tries to reassure her and informs her that she filed a report with the police about Seon's disappearance, and surely the police will find her. Afterwards, she enters Seon's room and sees the painting she drew, which is a drawing of butterflies, because she loves them very much. She remembers her memories with her when they used to talk together, and both of them were wearing a bracelet with a butterfly. After a while, Jin sees a medal with Genos written on it, so she guesses that this is the name of the place where her friend Seion was working and decides to go to this place to look for her. At night, she leaves Seon's grandmother's house to return to her home. On her way, an unknown person is monitoring her and walking behind her, and it appears that he is planning to kidnap her as well. But fortunately for her, the bus arrives and Jin boards it quickly. The next day, Chul goes to the school where he will work. The principal informs him that he will work as a physical education teacher and will be responsible for collecting school fees from the students who are late in paying. After he finishes talking, he takes him to the teacher's room, introduces him to them, and tells him that he left a list on his desk with the names and photos of the students who did not pay the fees. So Chul goes to the dining hall to look for the students who did not pay the fees. At that moment, he meets Kai Tai, the owner of the school, who welcomes him. We learn that Kai Tai is a very rich person and is nominated to be the village mayor. At that time, Chul sees the student list and finds that Jin is among the students who did not pay the fees. So he goes to talk to her, asks her to pay the fees, and asks her if she knows Seion, because she did not pay the fees and he looked for her but did not find her. She tells him that she will pay the fees next month and informs him that Seion is her close friend and that she has been missing for a month and no one knows where she is. After that, she leaves him and walks away. Chul enters the restroom and sees Jin jumping over the school wall and escaping. So he goes after her and finds her entering a bar called Genos. The security guards come, speak with her, and order her to leave. When Chul arrives, Jin goes up to the first floor to look for her friend in the bar, but the security guard catches her. Chul comes to take her, apologizes to the guard, and leaves the place. At that moment, they see a girl working in the bar, and Jin shows her Seon's photo and asks her if she knew her. The girl gets flustered and tells her that she doesn't know her and that there is someone named Isul who is responsible for the girls working in the bar and knows everything about them. It appears that she is a liar and afraid to tell them that she knows Seion. At night, Jin speaks with Chul and informs him that she filed a report with the police about the disappearance of her friend Seion and discovered that they are not looking for her and no one is interested in the matter. So Chul tries to reassure her and tells her that he will call Officer Song, whom he met when he came to the village, and will make him follow the report himself. He asks her for her home address to drop her off. Jin thinks that he is not interested in the matter either, so she gets out of the car and walks alone. On her way, she finds a car walking behind her, and an unknown person comes out of it and tries to kidnap her. He runs after her until he reaches her, shocks her with a taser, and she loses consciousness. At that moment, Chol discovers that she forgot her mobile phone in the car, so he goes to look for her to return it to her. Suddenly, he sees the unknown person, so he moves quickly with the car to catch him, but he finds him getting into his car and escaping quickly from the place. So Chol is forced to leave him to check on Jin, and he finds her unconscious. At that moment, he transfers her to the hospital. Two police investigators come to interrogate her and tell her that they will look for the criminal and arrest him as soon as possible. Jin interrupts them and tells them that this criminal might be the one who kidnapped her friend Seion. They ignore her words and are also not interested in the matter, so they leave her and walk away. At that moment, Chol goes out to talk to Officer Song and asks him why no one from the police is interested in the matter of Seon's disappearance. Song says that the police are busy with the village mayor elections, and also there are many girls in the village who ran away from their parents, and the police think that Seion also ran away from her parents. Chol gets annoyed and feels that something strange is happening in this village. The next day, he goes to Seon's grandmother and promises her that he will look for Seion himself and return her home. Afterward, he goes to meet Officer Song and gives him a report he wrote himself about Seon's disappearance, and asks him to submit this report to the prosecution so they can look for Seion instead of the police, because the police are not interested in the matter at all. When he goes to the school, he sees cigarette smoke in the girls' restroom, so he enters the restroom and makes the girls go out and orders them to give him the cigarette packs. They lie to him and tell him that they don't have cigarettes at all. At that moment, he enters to search the restroom himself and is surprised that there is a small camera hidden in the place of the restroom cleaner. So he goes to see the record of this camera and discovers that Kim, the art teacher, is the one who placed the camera to film the girls while they were in the restroom. At that moment, he goes to open his laptop and finds him recording videos of many girls in the restroom. When he opens the messages, he finds a message from Jin telling him that she is waiting for him in front of the school to help her in the search for her friend Seion. He also finds a message for her friend Seion on the day of her disappearance, in which she wrote to him that she wants him to come and pick her up with his car. So Chol guesses that Kim, the art teacher, is the reason for Seon's disappearance. At the same time, Jin gets into the car with Kim. Chol calls her and asks her where she is, but she refuses to tell him her location. So Chol advises her not to meet Kim and informs her that he saw his messages and discovered that Kim was in contact with her friend Seion on the day of her disappearance and might be the one behind her kidnapping. During his talk, Jin sees a medal with a butterfly on Kim's car keys, so she feels that Chol's words are correct and tries to hint to him that she is in Kim's car without Kim understanding. So Chol asks her to send him her location in a message, and he will come to save her. But at that time, Kim stops with the car because of the traffic light. Jin tries to open the car door quietly to escape, but Kim fastens her seatbelt and moves with the car quickly. So she sends a message to Chol, informing him that Kim is taking her to his apartment. She asks Kim who gave him this medal, because she knows that her friend Seion loves butterflies. He tells her that Seion gave it to him as a gift. At that moment, she asks him if he contacted Seion on the day of her disappearance or not. He gets furious with her and hits her on her head, and she loses consciousness. When she wakes up, she finds herself in his house, and he has tied her up so she won't escape. By chance, she sees her friend Seon's mobile phone in his drawer and makes sure that he is the reason for her disappearance. Kim tells her that he did nothing to Seion and does not know her location at all. During his talk, Chol arrives at the house to save Jin. Kim is shocked and tries to remove a large painting to hide Jin in a secret room, but Chol breaks the door, enters to hit him, and asks him what he did to Seion and why her mobile phone is with him. Kim tells him that Seion sent him a message on the day of her disappearance and asked him to pick her up. When he went to her, she got in with him, and she seemed sad and afraid of something. On their way, they passed by a gas station, and she asked him to stop the car and went down to talk on the phone. After she finished her call, she told him that someone would come to pick her up home and asked him to leave. Indeed, he left and was worried about her and felt guilty because he left her alone in the street at night. So he was forced to return to the gas station again, but he did not find her. At that moment, he saw an abandoned warehouse next to the gas station, so he entered to look for her, but unfortunately, he did not find her and found her phone lying on the ground and broken. After he finishes talking, Chul tells him that he does not believe him, and if his words are truly real, why did he not report to the police and tell what happened? Kim interrupts him and tells him that he was afraid of the police because he was the last one with her and surely they would suspect him and arrest him. Suddenly, he hears the sound of police officers in front of the house. Jin informs him that she reported to the police and told them that he tried to kidnap her. At that moment, he is arrested and enters custody in the police station. Chul speaks with the investigator and gives him Seon's mobile phone and asks him to fix it and find out who the last number she called was, because surely this is the person who kidnapped her. The investigator ignores his words and orders him to leave the police station. Indeed, Chul leaves and speaks with Officer Song and asks him to fix Seon's mobile phone and find out who the last number she called was and inform him immediately because he is not reassured by the investigator and feels that he intentionally does not investigate the case of Seon's disappearance. At this time, the investigator calls Gwang, the owner of the bar where Seion was working, and tells him that he tried not to open Seon's case, but the teacher Chul is trying to open the case and brought him Seon's mobile phone to fix it and find out the last number that called Seion before she disappeared. So Gwang orders him not to fix the phone. Afterward, he goes to talk to Ki-tae, the owner of the girls' school, and the one who is also nominated for the position of mayor, and tells him about what happened. Ki-tae gets furious with him and hits him. It turns out that he is the reason behind Seon's disappearance, and that he was the one who was bribing the police so they would not look for her. When Chul goes to the school, he and his fellow teachers read the news of the arrest of Kim, the art teacher, because he put a surveillance camera in the girls' restroom. So Chul knows that Jin is the one who published the news and goes to talk to her and blames her for what she did because she might get involved in trouble. Jin tells him that she is not afraid and is ready to face any problems. And what matters to her is that she finds her friend Seion. Afterwards, she leaves him and walks away. After a while, he gets a summons to the office of Ki-tae, the school owner, who decides to fire him from the school so he won't let him look for Seion and advises him to leave the village permanently. So Chul goes to stand alone and is annoyed and does not know how to act. At that moment, Officer Song calls him and tells him that he received a report from a person who found a dead girl under the bridge, and they suspect that this girl is Seion. So Chul goes there quickly and finds Jin coming to know who the girl who died is. Jin sees a bracelet with a butterfly on the girl's corpse and knows that this is her friend Seion. Before we continue, I think you forgot to hit the like button. Press like now, my friend, and subscribe now. She collapses from crying, and Chul takes her in his car to drop her home. But they learn that Seon's grandmother got sick after she knew the news of her death in her grandmother's house. So they go quickly to check on her. At this time, Officer Song goes to take Seon's mobile phone to fix it. The investigator sees him in the surveillance camera and is furious because if Song fixes the mobile phone and sees the last number that called Seion, he will know who killed her. Indeed, Song goes to the phone shop, fixes the phone, and calls Chul and informs him that the last number that called Seion is Gwang's number, and this Gwang is the owner of the bar where she was working. And there is a person named Asul who had sent her a message telling her in the message that she is very worried about her. After Song ends the call, Gwang's men come to hit him on his head and steal Seon's phone from him and walk away. At that moment, Chul goes to the bar and speaks with Asul and asks her what happened on the day of Seon's disappearance. She tells him that Seion was working as a singer in the bar. One day, the businessman Ki-tae was sitting in the bar with the police chief to bribe him and make him succeed in the village mayor elections. At that moment, Seion entered the restroom to talk to her grandmother on the mobile phone because she was sick and kept crying until Ki-tae entered the restroom to her. So Seion informs him that she studies in his school and asks him to let her leave to check on her grandmother because she is sick. Ki-tae gets annoyed and the police chief comes to take Seion and leave. Afterward, Ki-tae goes to talk with Gwang, the bar owner, and shouts at him because he employed Seion in the bar since she is a student of his and might know everything about him and damage his reputation. Gwang reassures him and informs him that Seion works for him in the bar to pay her father's debts and that she would never tell anyone anything, especially since she has not informed anyone that she works in a bar. During their talk, they hear the voice of the police chief screaming, so they go to see him and find him in pain. He informs them that Seion hit him because he tried to harass her and she escaped from the place. Gwang gets furious and calls her to find out where she is. She tells him that she is in front of the gas station, so he orders her not to move from her place until he comes to her. At that time, Asul sends a message to Seion to check on her and advises her not to escape so Gwang won't kill her. After Asul finishes talking, Gwang and his men come and learn that Chul is in the bar and they look for him. So Chul goes to face them and asks Gwang to talk with him quietly without trouble. But Gwang's men attack him and hit him with a baseball bat on his head. Chul gets furious and hits them all. At that moment, Gwang pulls out a knife and tries to stab him with it. So Chul hits him and asks him if he killed Seion or not. Gwang tells him that he is not the one who killed her and tells him that when he went to the gas station to get Seion, he did not find her in the place. At that moment, he saw an abandoned warehouse next to the gas station and entered to look for her in it, and was surprised that there was a masked person who strangled her and killed her. And the surprise is that this person is Kitai's son. At that time, Jin is in the hospital restroom, and Kitai's son comes from behind her and strangles her until she loses consciousness and kidnaps her. It turns out that Kitai's son is Kim, the art teacher. When Chol leaves the bar, he gets into his car and Officer Song calls him and informs him that a gang hit him and stole Seon's mobile phone from them. He tells him that something strange happened, which is that a police officer released Kim from custody. So Chol ends the call with him quickly. Jin's mother calls him and tells him that Jin is not present in the hospital, so he concludes that Kim kidnapped her and decides to go to his house to save her. At that moment, Jin wakes up and finds herself in Kim's secret room. Kim tells her that she understood him wrong and that he is not a criminal like his father Kitai. He remembers the day his father came and saw Seion dead. At that moment, he took her mobile phone from Guang, the bar owner, and broke it and kept hitting Kim, because if anyone knew what he did, he would lose the elections because of it. We learn that Kim has a psychological illness because his father was always hitting him when he was young. At that time, Chol arrives at the house and sees the painting behind which is the door of the secret room. So he removes the painting and breaks the door, but he does not find them and sees a painting with the address of another apartment written on it. So he decides to go there quickly. At that moment, Kim hears the sound of someone trying to open the door of the secret room he is in. So he muffles Jin's breath and strangles her so she won't talk. Afterward, he hits her and puts her inside the closet. His father, Kitai, enters to him and asks him why he is hiding in this room. Kim gets flustered and does not know how to answer him. He is surprised that his father tells him that he will send him to America because the election results are near, and he does not want any problem to happen that affects his future and the great position he will hold. Kim refuses and tells him that the school year has not finished yet and that he wants to stay in the school to help the girls in their studies. Kitai shouts at him and accuses him of being a criminal and a murderer. Before he finishes his talk, Kim tells him that he is not the one who killed Seion. We discover that Kim really is not the one who killed her, and that the day he was strangling her, he was protecting her from Guang because he loves her and was trying to silence her so she wouldn't make a sound and Guang would catch her. When his father hid him in the warehouse, they found Seion still alive, and she promised Kitai that she would not tell anyone anything of what happened and begs him to let her go. So Kitai grabs a bag and puts it on her head and strangles her with it until she dies. He did this to ensure that no one would reveal his secrets. In the current time, Kitai gets furious with his son Kim and hits him. Suddenly, he hears Jin's voice in the closet and decides to open it, but he gets a call from the police chief informing him that the election results are about to appear. So Kitai is forced to leave the house quickly. At that moment, Kim talks with Jin and asks her to come out of the closet and promises her that he will not hurt her. Jin refuses to come out, and Kim comes to open the closet. So Jin grabs the color spray and sprays it in his face and runs outside the room. At that moment, she finds herself in a basement and the door is locked. So she is forced to hide under a table. Kim comes looking for her until he sees her legs under the table. At that time, Chol arrives at the house and looks for Jin everywhere. In the basement, Kim gets furious and breaks all the cups because of what Jin did to him. As soon as he approaches the table, Jin gets afraid and runs out hoping to escape, but she steps on the glass of the cups and gets hurt in her legs and falls on the ground. Chul hears her voice and goes toward the basement and tries to break the door. Chul enters and finds Jin lying on the ground and she is bleeding a lot of blood. So he takes out the glass and puts a cloth on her neck to stop the bleeding. Suddenly, Kim attacks him and stabs him with scissors in his stomach. Chul gets furious and keeps hitting him to take revenge on him. At that moment, Kim apologizes to him and begs him not to kill him. So Chul is forced to leave him to catch Jin and transfer her to the hospital quickly because she bled a lot of blood. But Kim grabs a piece of wood and hits him on his head. Chul gets enraged and hits him until he falls on the ground and loses consciousness. Afterward, he takes Jin and gets into his car quickly to take her to the hospital. On his way, he moves with the car quickly while he is tired and bleeding a lot of blood because Kim stabbed him with the scissors in his stomach. At this same time, Kitai succeeds in the elections and is of course happy because he achieved his dream and became the village mayor finally. While Chul is moving with the car, Jin tells him that Kitai is the one who killed Seion. Chul is shocked because he thought that Kim was the one who killed her. When he reaches the hospital, he sees on the television the news of Kitae's success in the elections. So he decides to go to him to take revenge on him for all the crimes he committed. Indeed, he gets into his car and goes to hit Kitae's car. As soon as he gets out of the car, the driver attacks him and tries to hit him, but Chul hits him and drops him on the ground and goes to Kitae to hit him as well. Kitae keeps insulting him and boasts about himself in front of him because he became the village mayor and has authority and influence. Chul gets furious and breaks the car glass with his hand. At that moment, police cars arrive, and Kitae calls the police chief and thanks him because he thinks he is the one who sent them to arrest Chul. But he is surprised that the police are coming to arrest him. Chul learns that Officer Song reported everything to the prosecution, and they are the ones who ordered the arrest of Kitae and his son Kim. The next day, Chul goes to the hospital to check on Jin. Afterward, he gets into his car and leaves the village to return to live in the city where he was born, and the film ends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive the latest videos.